Welcome everyone from Masters Cohort 7. Paula's actually going to be sharing some very exciting, a very exciting topic, and I think it's an emerging one that's getting more popularity right now in the space of sustainable fashion and what that means in its intersection with the blockchain industry. But I'd like to just quickly read out a little bit about Paula so you know who she is, and she's passionate about fashion retail, innovation, and Web3 technologies. Obviously, we would expect that because she's here and she's with us in Unit Masters. She's also a University Lecturer and a TEDx Speaker. She currently leads business development and partnerships at Clout.art. She's a dynamic, accomplished global professional with extensive experience in both academia and industry, with subject matter expertise in technology, strategic account management, business development, marketing, event production, communications, and branding in sectors of digital technology, social digital retail, fintech, and luxury fashion in Europe and APAC. That's a mouthful and a lot under your belt, Paula. Thank you for being with us. The stage is yours. Our students are keen to hear about what you've got to share, and we're very honored that you're here with us to share today.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. So hi from Dublin. I think you can hear the seagulls. Maybe my earphones aren't working so well, so I'll speak up a little bit. So thanks for joining me today. So I've been working in the fashion industry, must be 20 years now, but I actually originally started off in computer science, and from there I got into e-commerce, and then from there I got into lecturing. Then I ended up in China for 8 years working with luxury brands who were localizing in the Chinese marketplace, and then after that helping local Chinese brands globalize. So I was able to work with a lot of luxury brands and retail. And we know, like in China, particularly as well in Asia, that they are the pioneers of app technology. So embracing technology, particularly for fashion brands in China, was kind of the norm. I mean, one of the first projects I was involved in was in 2012, which was an AR project. And we were using like AR filters to have unicorns come out of our nails. It was a Japanese and Chinese brand. So we in China, they've been using AR technology, retail gamification, this kind of in-gaming tokens, AR, VR, avatars, all this kind of retail gamification, how will I say, activities before the West kind of jumped on board much later in the 2000s. So I'm going to share with you a PPT now that I created for you guys. So just give me 2 seconds. So you should be able to see my desktop. And can you guys see that presentation?
Yes, we can, Paula.
Great. Okay, so I'll just start at the beginning. So basically for my topic, I decided to talk about sustainable fashion, retail innovation, and Web3. So basically how technology is empowering the retail business and retail business providers to explore opportunities in what kind of new business models are coming, and do these business models focus on innovation, entrepreneurialism, and circularity? Because they're the kind of 3 topics that we as fashion providers and subject matter experts, we're trying to build out these new use cases that represent or that bring innovation, but at the same time have a kind of entrepreneurial giving fashion brands and fashion students and fashion professionals this entrepreneurial mindset. Like, you just don't end up working in a corporation. You have to be part of building something that has a circularity focus. And this is particularly how will I say, with Web3, it's all about community and working together and building out the new web and having a more balanced, decentralized approach to the different kinds of technologies that we're going to make. Because if we think about AI, for example, AI is artificial intelligence, where we take a human task and we automate it using technology. Those subject matter experts have to be there to train certain kinds of tasks. Those type of subject matter experts need to be people from a diverse and dynamic community, women, men, people with ethnicities and backgrounds. So diversity inclusion is also very important when we're building sustainable use cases for the fashion supply chain that results in a circular or innovative focus. So just moving on. So this is a little bit about me. So I was an haute couture fashion buyer. I ended up working in Tencent. There's me in the VR in 2012. I was modeling unicorn nails, QR codes, that type of thing. So I've had a very, very interesting career, particularly coming from the fashion luxury sector, but now I focus more on building Web3. All right, guys, so today we're going to talk about the difference between Web2 and Web3, how digital transformation has happened because of COVID, and basically how the retail design and marketing people are embracing digitalization. We're going to look at data-driven decision-making. I always say you can't really be sustainable unless you have data. Yeah, because data helps us make better decisions. The more information we have, the better we are to respond to things like overproduction. We've got real-time supply chains. Different parts of the supply chains are talking to each other in real time, and they're able to forecast, well, what kind of products and services do we need in the future? And this is what inspired my TEDx talk in 2016, because I actually had a sinusitis surgery where I had a fungus removed from my sinuses because I spent so long going around from factory to factory working in fashion. So I said, do you know what, Paula, this isn't a sustainable career. You need to change, go back to your technology roots, start creating digital fashion and 3D modeling and virtual fashion, because I believe that this old way, these old supply chains, this old way of developing, these fashion products and services is not sustainable. We're going to look at what kind of opportunities are there for small to medium-sized brands. Don't forget those, the small to medium-sized brands, guys, particularly in localization and developing local communities. It's going to be important to be part of the whole Web3 phenomena. We're going to have a look at some brands and how they use these kind of technologies. We've diverged into a bit of metaverse, bit of DAOs, NFTs. I'm going to show you guys my dematerialized wallet with all my 3D fashion wearables on it. And then we're going to talk about my new project, which is Clout.art and the creator economy. So hopefully we'll fly through those. So basically, digitalization is transforming the retail industry, particularly in the design and marketing function. So we know in 2008, we generated 33 trillion gigabytes. By 2025, it'll reach 175 trillion gigabytes. So let me tell you, data is social capital. Data is our power. The more data we have, then the better we actually clean and segment the data and run it through different kinds of business models, or how will I say, machine learning models and AI, whether it's an algorithm. We're going to have better information to make better decisions about what kind of products and services that we make. All right, so how did I actually get started in all of this? Well, you've probably heard about AI, blockchain, AR, VR, IoTs, multiverses, omniverses, 3D channel experiences. And if you look a lot through retail and fashion, you'll hear words like retail gamification and retail entertainment and content creation and analytics and brand theater. So we know that as we move through digital, it is possible now, thank God, to have these real-time supply chains with seamless integration of online technology in the in-store environment. So basically, how are we adding value in these supply chains? How are we offering good customer services in these supply chains? So basically, in my classes in university, I focus mostly on the store environment. So I'm always trying to figure out how can I use innovative technology and digital services to make the supply chain more sustainable? How do I use these supply chains in co-creation, for example? So we know the blockchain offers, and Web3 offers this great facility to offer co-creation to people like you and me to interact with the blockchain to build new 3D models that end up in as retail products or services. So in retail, we actually have three divisions: marketing, design, and retail. Or sorry, marketing, design, and retail inside this kind of innovation bracket. And you can see from the marketing perspective, we look at things like 3D e-commerce, streaming, AR and VR, to hyper-personalized advertising. And then in the innovation space, we've got 3D printing, virtual fitting technologies, AI and computer vision. For example, Pinterest is a great example of AI and computer vision, whereby you may have a look at a Chanel handbag, and then the software then looks at it and points to event detection on similar products. So Pinterest is a very good example of AI and computer vision. So we use many different kinds of technology. And then moving into retail, then we have things like the metaverse and crypto payments and art installations and 3D art installations and influencer spaces and interactive kiosks and so on. Even real-time styling recommendation engines are all there on the supply chain, ready to be interacted with. So we have to feed these systems so they can give us information about what kind of products and services that we want to offer. And also do a fashion now, fashion buyer learn to actually train these models to make predictions about what kind of customers are going to be in the future, what kind of products they want to be made. So it's a lot going on in fashion. Just to note, my favorite interactive store would be Shenzhen in China. The Burberry store, I think, is the best example of what we call like online technology in the in-store environment. So moving on from that then, the evolution of the web. So what's the difference between Web 2, Web 3, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3? Well, we're moving into Web 3 right now. I started my career in Web 2. I was a young 20-year-old. My first job was lecturing eCommerce. It was 2004. Nobody knew what the precursor to the iPhone or social media was. So at that time in Web 2, we were building like out social media networks. We were building, we were working on mobile devices and APP technologies, and we were focusing a lot on the cloud. As we transition now, and that kind of internet, guys, was centralized. Centralization is based on monarchies and previous civilizations where you have, you know, one leader and then you have the people feeding into that leader, that kind of centralized or monarchical structure. And that's kind of based on Web 2. And a lot of the key players in Web 2 were like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. These are all very large technical companies that are extremely centralized. And then they use us as product to sell us services like email, social media, and so on. But we know this isn't a sustainable business model anymore, particularly with Facebook, because Facebook's revenue comes from advertising. 80% of their revenue comes from advertising. For advertising, you need data, and data, you need to interact with your customer. If you look at the Chinese model, like Tencent, for example, which is a similar kind of company, they focus on gaming, e-payments, and advertising would be the smallest part of their business model. So we know that advertising isn't really a very good form of revenue for these large tech companies like Facebook and so on. So here we can see Web3 then is more about AI, artificial intelligence. It's decentralized, and we're focusing more on edge computing. So edge computing is computing that exists outside of the organization. So in your town, you will have a certain internet provider, you'll have a certain data center and so on. So we'll see that the internet, even in terms of its infrastructure, is becoming very, very decentralized. So guys, here's a little graphic I found so we can see the comparison between the three. So you can see the first web was just a read web. This web now is about reading, writing, and owning your own content. And that's very, very exciting for retailers, because we have an opportunity now to interact with the customer. Oh, let's not call them customers. Let's call them community members. Yes, community members. And from these community members, we want to find out what kind of products they want. We want to be part of, let's say I'm Nike and I'm building this beautiful sneaker. I will give you an option to actually modify and customize that digital sneaker. Then I'll find out the probability of whether it will sell or not. So Web3 lets us have this two-way decentralized communication between the community and the brands. And this is something that I'm very, very excited about. Just moving on. Okay, all right, so we know that digitalization, which is happened very rapidly, and it does affect this whole Web3, this whole new technologies, this all affect, you know, the retail industry. So how can retailers really capitalize and leverage on this type of technology? So we know smart glasses would be an example. So we have AR smart glasses. I walk into Walmart, I put on my glasses, and they're AR glasses, and I pick up a bottle of something, and then up comes where it was made, then another one comes what I can wear it with, then another one comes with the coupon and so on. Then I take off my glasses and it's just a product. So we know that AR technology and these kinds of technologies that we have in store can help the customer in their retail experience. Okay, so omniverse retail. So we're getting closer and closer to the metaverse, which is a Web3 3D internet, a decentralized 3D internet, the metaverse, that can be viewed using a web browser like this, or you can view it using VR. So thanks to technology, organizations can offer these omni-channel experiences. So we want in this fashion supply chain, we want to give the customer an invitation to interact with every part of the supply chain, whether it's in the manufacturing function, the design function, the marketing function, the customer service function. The Web3 allows us to do this. And I feel with retail brands that we're excited about that. We want our customers to interact with us. We want our customers to help us build better products and services. Guys, this automated supply chain, so it can be adjusted, it can change in real time, it can have different players and designers and community people. You can offer all kinds of different opportunities and experiences. So we know about data, guys. I'm going to tell you a little bit about data. So data is my bread and butter. So if you see on the left-hand side here, in the retail industry, we collect data like this is a product workflow. So you can see these are all the different kinds of how will I say, elements that I need to build a collection: leather, the size, the v-neck, the fit, the sleeve, the supplier, and so on and so forth. And we feed all this data that we collect from the internet and from the supply chain into different kinds of technologies. So we're using a combination of internal data, external data from the customer, we're cleaning the data, we're running it through these different kinds of business models, and we're trying to figure out, oh, what is that customer going to buy next week based on his previous purchasing patterns? We should send him an email for that. So when we run it through the different kinds of technology, then we have all these insights, like how to price the item, what color is most popular, which category of fashion is going to bring the best probability, what type of fashion is least probable to be profitable, and so on. What kind of post do we have on Instagram? Is it more men or female? And so on. So these data is going to play a very, very big role, because we need to, you know, the blockchain and AI and all these other types of technology depend on data. So gathering the data and being able to process it. So we say that data is basically raw information, and information is processed data. So in order for me to make my job easier, my assistants and my AI models and whatever, they feed in the data, and then I'm giving in a report. And then as a manager, I'm able to make a decision about which product is the most sustainable and results in profitability. So data, guys, is really, really important. And for me, particularly when I'm teaching in the in-store environment, the more my customer interacts with their app, the more my customer comes to the store, the more my customer has a conversation with the customer service agent, the easier it is for me to collect data so I can analyze it and then create these amazing products and services. So today, retail is not only about the what, but it's also about the how. Right? So I know that in technology, we focus on making a better product, but I also know technology helps us deliver a better customer service journey, a better experience, because we have access to, you know, our customers' purchasing history and what motivates them to buy and so on, what kind of store environment they want to see, what kind of app they want to interact with. So digitalization can enforce each stage of the fashion supply chain from strategy perspective, but also from a data and experience perspective. There are other technologies, guys, like artificial intelligence, which I spoke about, VR, which is virtual reality, like the Metaverse, 3D printing, amazing technology. This gives us a chance to prototype our retail services before it goes through the supply chain. So if I'm prototyping an existing product, I'm able to see the functionality of it before I'm actually make it. I can actually connect that to the customer. So I can actually show the customer, guys, this is what the product's going to actually look like when it's finished. This is the 3D version of it. And then the customer is able to click on the product and tell me, oh, we prefer red. Oh, I prefer this button. Oh, I prefer that. And that tells the supply chain in real time what the customer wants. And then we produce goods that are wanted. We're solving overproduction. So overproduction, guys, is when, you know, a retailer rocks up, makes a shitty product, farms it out, it's left in the marketplace, and then it goes in the ground. This is what we don't want, right? So like I said, using these technologies to interact with our customer and find out what you guys want. What are you more likely to buy? What kind of resources? Are you interested in things like the provenance, the authenticity, and so on? So we'll see that a little bit, how blockchain gives us these tools to do that. So I want to tell you a little bit about Burberry, for example, which is a luxury fashion brand from the UK. They use machine learning algorithms, which is a type of artificial intelligence, to improve customer services. So we know with Web3 that we're going to have what we call this hyper-personalized experience. So you'll walk into the store, your app will know it's Paula, and it might send me a link and say, it knows my bra size already because I told it. And it might send me a floor plan to the bra size section, or remind me that, you know, something's coming in next week. So the Burberry has used these type of AI models to deliver these personalized shopping experience to customers. Personally, I don't like in-store shopping. I find it quite boring. So I like to have my app, or I like to have some sort of gamification element in the store that it makes it more interesting. Moncler, which is another brand, they use data intelligence and performance tools to figure. So for the next time I buy my food, I'll be like, hi guys, is there an NFT with this? A smart contract to say, I own this Louis Vuitton bag, it was made on this date by Louis Vuitton in this factory, and so on. So we know that a lot of fashion brands are using technologies for to stop counterfeiting. And we're going to have a look at that when we talk about NFTs a little bit later, and so on. And even in terms of, guys, how the retailers plan their warehouse. they're using like different kinds of technologies to forecast demand and supply. And then from a 3D pop-up version, then you can go to Charlotte Tilbury or Gucci Garden or any of those kind of virtual pop-up stores on the internet, which is viable through your web browser. These are all examples of how brands are using technology to interact with their customers. Patagonia is another one, guys. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They use the blockchain to avoid manual entry. So everybody is implementing the data in a decentralized way in real time. So it saves a lot of efficiencies. Stella McCarthy is another great brand, guys, that focuses on circularity and uses a lot of innovation from the point of like textiles. So she uses mycelium leather, which is quite sustainable, and other kinds of bamboo, water, cotton, and other alternatives. So when I talk about innovation in fashion, it's not just about technology like infrastructure and the internet. It's also in terms of the materials that we're using that can be innovative and circular. All right, so how are we getting on, guys? So I just want to show you, are we doing okay for time? I want to show you some examples. Yes, great. All right, guys, so when we were talking about AI and blockchain and all these kind of other technologies, one of my favorites one is this one. It's called Model Me. Basically, this is an artificial intelligence tool that allows, so let's say I'm living in South America and I go on to like Zara. The Zara technology will know that I'm in South America. So it's only going to show me models from that region and that catalog in real time. How amazing is that? So basically, wherever you are in the world, whatever, you know, based on your ethnicity, your gender, your previous purchasing patterns, everything that you see on the web will be customized to you. And we call this hyper-personalization. So I'm not going to, you know, I'm not interested, let me say, in pencil skirts. I'm more interested in pants. So that's all I'm going to see. So you and your friend, for example, are both on the internet. You're both on the Zara site or the Walmart site. But the actual interface and the content is actually different because it's based on personalization, because the technology is reading, well, what kind of things does Paula want to see? And what kind of things does Paula not want to see? So I think this is a very good example of, and also not only with this piece of software here on the left-hand side, Model Me, it's also saving, you know, during COVID, the models weren't able to go to the studio, try on the clothes and so on and so forth. So these are computer generated models. Some of these models actually don't exist. They're generated artificially with the clothes. So you can type in sweater or this region or that color and so on, and it'll automatically generate a look for you. And this saves time and energy for the retail provider, so they don't have to worry about fashion shoots and models and all that kind of thing, because it's all computer generated in real time. The next one here, guys, this is from This Outfit Does Not Exist, an example of digital clothing. So we know on Instagram that, you know, a lot of people like to change their outfit every day and take a selfie. This isn't very sustainable. But what if I told you that there was a digital twin of all these items, whereby you could actually rock up on Instagram and, you know, use an AR filter to take a picture of your outfit. So your outfit of the day it doesn't actually exist. It's just a digital representation of the physical item. So we know that 3D fashion is going to be, it is very popular. What you see right there is not an NFT. So you have 3D fashion wearables, and then you have 3D fashion wearable NFTs. They are not the same thing. So I'm going to explain to you what those are later. And then moving on to that, then we have Snap, one of my favorite brands. Again, they're using computer vision and 3D body mapping, whereby you stand in front of your mobile and you pose, and then you do finger gestures. Yes. So left is no like the bag, right is like the bag, and then you can kind of see, and the bag is sitting on your hip, and it gives you a visual kind of representation in AR what the bag actually looks like. The example that Snap have here is sign language. They're sign languaging through, so the computer vision is actually reading the hand gestures. Yeah, so computer vision is a great piece of technology in artificial intelligence. All right, so let's move on to blockchain stuff, Metaverse DAOs and NFTs, Metaverse 3D internet, that can be accessible through AR, the internet, DAOs use utility tools, which are decentralized. So for example, Web3, and Web3 facilitates this, guys, through the blockchain. So as you know, with many blockchains, some are private, public, and hybrid. Some blockchains have their own digital currency, some blockchains don't. Blockchains in fashion, particularly like LVMH, they use Aurora. And probably the most in the block, again, when we go back to the supply chain, guys, we have NFTs that are at the beginning of the supply chain. So the NFT, I'm sure you're quite familiar with, is a non-fungible token, which is a feature of blockchain technology, which is a feature of Web3. And a non-fungible token is an entity that cannot be copied. We've seen a lot of these different types of NFTs, which are smart contracts that are burned onto the blockchain that says, I own this item. It was made by this person for this price and so on. So as an NFT for us in fashion is kind of like a digital certificate. And we use NFTs in two parts of the supply chain. First, we use it at the beginning of the supply chain when we're creating the product. So Louis Vuitton is putting on the logo, putting on the handle, putting on the closing system. And there's an NFT, stamp, 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 to say that this item is an original. This item comes from this location. This item is owned by whoever. So next time you buy your luxury good, you better ask your brand, is there an NFT with that? Otherwise, I wouldn't buy it. Why would you want an NFT though? Let's say you got sick of the bag and you wanted to sell it later and goes up on some marketplace. It's actually burnt onto the blockchain that says, Paula owns this bag. She bought it in January. It is an LV and we can prove it. So the next time I go to resell that bag, guys, the NFT comes with it and the previous buyer is able to say, it's an original. So we use NFTs in the supply chain at the beginning when we're making these fashion products and services to show authenticity, provenance, and ownership. If you move forward in the supply chain then to more the customer, then we have NFTs that we use in the customer service experience, virtual try-ons, 3D wearables. This is how we use NFTs. So I'm going to show you my 3D wearable NFTs collection in a moment. So let's have a look at what we see in front of us here. So on the left here and the middle, we have two 3D wearables from DressX. This is not an NFT, guys. This is a 3D wearable. It's just a 3D wearable. You go into Snapchat and you select it and you see it on your body. On this side here, this is Dolce & Gabbana. This is a 3D wearable NFT. So it's an NFT. Which says that it has a value, it's rare. Dolce & Gabbana actually, we call the category in fashion screenwear. It's a screenwear product, and they made over $6 million on 3D wearable NFTs. DressX, on the other hand, is not an NFT, they're just 3D wearables. But you can have a look at both when you guys have time. All right, so I found this from Coin Payments actually this morning. So what is the metaverse? It's going to change the way we work, play, shop, have games, spend money, collect NFTs. We know it's a mix of Web3, AR, VR, and blockchain, all mixed up together. And in blockchain, we pretty much have, well, the metaverse is going to affect the blockchain technologies, but also crypto. And crypto is a type of 3D or is a type of Web3 currency for buying digital goods and services. So like I said, guys, blockchain is going to really change how we work, play, but it's the metaverse and this kind of 3D interactive environment where you're able to have self-governance and self-identity and choose your avatars and rock up for class as a green frog in a Nike digital t-shirt, for example. Okay, so almost there, guys. So just going on into digital fashion, we've got a new category called phygital or screenwear. So digital fashion has two parts. We've got the phygital, which is a digital fashion item, and the physical version called phygital. And then we have pure digitally native fashion brands in the form of NFTs. So like I said there in the earlier slide, guys, DressX it's pure digital. I don't think they have physical items. I think it's pure digital. But there are certain brands that do both. And this is great for merging kind of the physical world in the digital world, meaning that you buy the digital item, like a 3D wearable outfit, but you also buy the physical dress that comes in the post. So we call these phygital. So it's a combination of digital and physical. So DressX, Solomon Space is another great place where you can rock up in your 3D avatar and your 3D NFT wearable. And then we've other brands like the Dematerialized, which I'll share with you now, the Fabricant. These are all brands that are participating. But those brands, guys, on this side are digitally native, meaning that they were born in the digital world. Other brands, you know, a digital outfit and a physical outfit together, or you can just buy items in VR or rock up in a disco on Solomon Space on your avatar. Okay, guys, so this is just an example of how NFTs are collected when we make fashion garments. We've got baby NFTs and parent NFTs, and then they create these kind of digital objects that live in the metaverse. That you can be viewed using AR or a web browser, but they also live in the metaverse. So you can see, guys, it's quite complicated. So there's one brand called Digitalax, which is a digitally native fashion brand, just building a library of digital fashion goods. And they even go down to, they're called child NFTs. These are small NFTs that describe textures, colors, patterns, and then they go into making these parent NFTs, these garments. And these garments can be worn using AR, or you can rock up in a metaverse and put them on your avatar. So this is a really, really interesting fashion, a purely native digital fashion brand. All right, guys, so just to finish up, I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. So not only do I lecture Web3 and retail innovation and technology and my new project is called Clout.art. Clout.art is basically a social media minting platform. And we also have Sway Protocol, which is a type of, how will I say, a new mechanism for converting followers on Instagram into stakeholders. So Clout.art basically is an NFT minting platform, but we mint your Instagram posts. So people ask me, why are you minting people's Instagram posts? Why would anyone mint their Instagram posts? Well, if you're a content creator or an influencer and you have, you know, and you're not able to monetize your creations, you can monetize them by bringing your Instagram post onto Clout.art. So for guys, let's say you took a picture or you've made some content on Instagram, it's not selling. Currently, it's owned by Instagram, you're getting paid by Instagram. But what if I told you that in Web3, the blockchain offers this thing called a creator economy, which gives an alternative platform for creators to actually sell their content and get paid. And with the Sway protocol, not only that, the followers now become stakeholders. Because currently in Web2 social medias, there is no monetization for proper monetization model for creators, and there is no monetization model for followers. So the great thing about Web3 and Clout.art is we're able to take the influencer or content creator from the Web2 social media platforms such as TikTok or Instagram and bring them over to Clout.art, sell their content, and then pull their followers with them and make them become stakeholders. Because nobody likes clicking on someone's post. You don't get any money for it, but at least if you're building and supporting a creator, this is what we do at Clout.art. And I think that's it, guys. So final thoughts. Is fashion becoming more of a science than creativity, more technology than art? Now, we would have conversations with designers, oh, you know, about creativity. And I'm like, honey, it's about data and real time. There's only so much creativeness, you know, like I'm always fighting with the designers. Oh, you know, we create this, this, and this. No, you don't, love. The marketers are telling you what the market needs, how it needs it, when it needs it. So there's always this conflict, and it's technology that's driving these decisions, guys. It's technology that's dictating what you're going to be wearing next week, because we're using, you know, we're using cameras in stores to see what kind of patterns you're wearing. We're following you on the internet to find out what kind of stuff you're going to wear next week. So I do think fashion is becoming more of a science, and I do think fashion is very technology focused because we're basing our decisions on data. And this data is coming from the external environment or from an app or whatever it is. So yeah, that's where it's at. So I hope you guys enjoy that. It might have been technical and random. I'm not sure. How was it? Questions?
Paula, thank you so much. You are so dynamic. Like the energy is just bursting through the screen, and I could see people smiling as you presented. Thank you so much. That was super interesting. And we all learned a new word today. I think for the most part, I hadn't heard of the word phygital, so that's new to me. But that's awesome. That's awesome. We do have some questions in the chat over here. The first one is from David Hoffman. He says, from your experience, apart from Asia, who spearheaded this development? And where does Europe and North America sit, and how far behind are they?
Guys, to be fair, I don't know that much about North America. In fact, the whole American thing, I'm not sure. My fans, my heroes are probably Walmart in terms of their supply chains. But from a consumer focus, you're asking which brands are the most innovative, is it?
Who spearheaded the development? Yeah, who would you say, is the most innovative? But I guess the question is more along the lines of who started this movement, according to you?
In the US, I do not know. I can only tell you Europe and Asia because that's my expertise. So North America, no, I'm just thinking, no, from Walmart would be the kings for me in terms of data and technology, but I wouldn't know who spearheaded it in North America. I wouldn't have a clue. Sorry.
What about in Europe, Paula?
Oh, Europe. Yeah, that's of course. So Europe, we have Dolce & Gabbana, we have Burberry, a lot of the luxury brands, guys, because they're, how will I say, their budgets would be much, much higher. They have teams dedicated to innovation. Now I speak with Nike Innovation every Tuesday, and we talk about like gaming and edutainment and retail interaction, all that kind of stuff. So I would say a lot of Nike is an American brand. I would say Nike actually would probably be the most innovative, and I would be spearheading this now that I think about it. I was on a call with them yesterday. But yes, Nike would be, I believe, the most innovative in their technology and would have instigated, because they are working very, very busy, you know, with 3D modeling. And they were like, oh, how do we rock up in the metaverse? And will we have a token? Because Adidas, we know, like entered the metaverse yesterday, and they have like a collaboration with coin payments. So there's definitely going to be how will I say, a fight between Adidas and Nike about who capitalizes on the metaverse first. But even with Nike, their business model, you know, has changed over the past 40 years. And I was kind of saying to them, I said, you guys should probably focus on localization and communities using this technology. So I think Nike actually are going to be the game changers, because they got the budgets, they got the expertise, and it's got a great company culture about it. So yeah, so there's your answer.
Cool, Paula. All right. We have another statement here from Margot, and she says, I have a hard time understanding how brands will create personalized experience in Web3, since people are reclaiming ownership of their personal data. So what's your sentiment around that?
That's an excellent question. So basically, current ECRM systems are centralized, right? So, you know, we are the product, we're giving our data to get these kind of personalized products and services. In Web3, there will be a fee, I believe, or some sort of other revenue model for the brand to make money from the consumer. I think you'll have personalized and private ECRM systems that are built by communities rather than customers. So I would say your wallet, I mean, there's a lot of brands out there, like Tiki, for example. It's a brand, it's a digital wallet, which basically collects your data internally on its phone. And then when the brand goes to interface with the phone or the consumer, it has to ask you, like, they're going to pay me a tenner to know my bra size, for example. I'm not going to give my bra size for free. Why would I do that when I can get a tenner, 10 euros to tell the brand my bra size, so they can send me stuff they think I need in the future? So we're going to see this kind of reverse mechanism. So basically, we're not going to be the product. Another thing as well, attention tokens, guys. So advertising is going to be hyper personalized, and we're going to be paid to watch how will I say, advertising in the future, if that makes sense. So there are, you know, a lot of ways and new revenue models and business models are coming up because of Web3, because of this whole decentralization mindset and structure. So yeah, I would say private ECRM, community driven systems. Like, for example, Lush, I don't know if you know Lush, they're no longer using social media like Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat anymore. They want to set up their own private ECRM systems. And the data sits on your phone, because we're all nodes on Web3, right? So we have a right to say whether we want the brand to use our data or not. So I think we're in a great position as in the data, how will I say, I think we're in a good position from a consumer perspective and a data perspective with Web3. So brands are asking us for our data, we're thinking about it, and we have to be incentivized to give it. Mm-hmm.
Cool, thanks for that, Paula. All right, sure. We've got a question from Yip over here. From a bird's eye perspective, looking down on the emerging landscape of metaverse and fashion and tokens, so metaverse, fashion, and tokens, what are, in your view, most exciting use cases for a sustainable world? That's the first part. So when you cover that, I'll get to the second part.
The best, or I'm sorry, fashion, tokenization, and
metaverse, fashion, and tokens.
Okay, so you want some use cases for this? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so what tokens, guys, are based on, I mean, you have utility tokens, right? So you can, let's say we're working in the creator economy. Even Clout.art, for example, our local token is the Sway token. I think it's 30 cents today. So it's a utility token. So in Clout.art, for example, when we work with a creator, we bring over their content, we sell their NFT through an auction, and then the how will I say, the followers who became stakeholders and now are token holders, and they're able to vote on which kind of content the creator sells, how much percentage they get in terms of when the NFT is resold, in terms of the royalty. All this is tracked on the blockchain. So to be fair, actually, is Clout.art a metaverse company? It's a type of metaverse company. We do focus on tokenization and creating monetization models for the creators. So we call this a creator economy. So that would be a good example for me, the best use case, obviously, I'm biased, on how Clout.art uses tokenization, the Sway token, to help the follower become stakeholders when investing in the creator's content. So the creator economy, personally, I think is really going to blow up in terms of utilizing the tokenization mechanisms of Web3.
Were there any projects that inspired Clout.art specifically, like that you were inspired by?
Oh, you mean in terms of my creators? I have a few actually at the moment. So we have like a metalwork artist who's creating a limited edition sculpt, like this kind of art installation. And then we have some AR artists and mixed media artists working together to develop this campaign. And these are small creators from small communities, and Clout.art is helping them, reach out to their audience and helping local communities to monetize on these new creators and creating a mechanism for these creators to work in a collaborative sense. So I'm feeling inspired by the fact that this Web3 technology gives access to smaller creators to develop, new products and services and make money from this. And this can be very advantageous for people who are working in, or maybe they're in parts of the world that they don't have a lot of economic stability. So I particularly like, that's what I feel inspired by on a daily basis, working with these creators and creating these new forms of art and monetizing on them.
Super. The second part of Yip's question was, where should creatives, builders, and investors double down on development and investment?
Where should creators, builders, and investors double down on investment?
Mm-hmm.
I can't answer that. I don't know where they should double, or even where should they focus their interests on, pretty much.
Yeah, Paula, maybe let me just clarify. I'm very interested to hear your perspective, being the expert in the field, right? How, when we can just, right now we're in a phase where we can still shape the economy of the future. Everybody who contributes to build in it, to invest into it, whatever, right? That's the power of Web3. If we were to create a sustainable future, where should we actually put a lot of attention towards when we are working in fashion or metaverse, AR, VR, and so on? What are areas where you think there should be significant investments if we want to just create a world that is equitable for all and exciting to you?
Sure.
There's no right answer to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, I'd have to say education, because the whole Web3 is about decentralization. It's about change. It's about innovation. So I happen to be an educator at heart. I mean, this is my first job. So I think educating the local community on the functionalities of Web3, getting them to think in an entrepreneurial mindset, and to create these, because with blockchain, we can create transparency and circularity. And this can result in sustainability from an environmental perspective, but also in terms of our business models. So I would say working with local communities, the education companies, working with startups and accelerator programs. Like if, for example, in fashion, a lot of the brands would have their own, how would I say, retail innovation programs. They have accelerator programs where they're calling the community and they're investing in the community to be part of building out this new Web3, to be part of building new use cases for the fashion and retail sector. So yes, VC-backed accelerator companies and educational institutions, that's where my focus would be.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Paula. Lawrence has a question. He said, I would like to know what Paula thinks of Rally.io and their place in the creator economy and creator coins model?
I don't know Riley.io. I can't answer that. So that's new to me. Any other?
Yeah, you've got a list of questions here. So go through them.
Hope I can answer them all, guys. Yeah.
We've got 4 minutes before we go into breakout room, so we'll cover what we can. All right. So Sonia here says, so we make about 200 fashion films and 3,000 photographs. Some of our films have won at Cannes. How can we reach out to connect with Clout.art? How can she reach you? I think you'll be providing your details.
Sure. It's just p@clout.art. You can find us we're all over the web as well. So Clout.art, app.clout.art, or p@clout.art. So it's very easy to find us. And I'm the creative partnerships. So I'm looking for creators. I'm looking for influencer agencies. I'm looking for digital agencies. I'm looking for brands. I'm looking for art councils and governments. You know, I'm really trying to find out, you know, how Clout.art, even for ourselves, you know, how we monetize and how we assist. And I think Clout.art's positioning is really about transitioning Web 2 content creators into Web 3. We're hand-holding the Web 2 into Web 3, but it's the Sway protocol and the tokenization of the Sway token, and, you know, converting these followers into stakeholders is really the end game for Clout.art. But at the moment, we're focusing on trying to foster and source these great partnerships. And like I said, creators and influencer agencies and art councils and brands are all welcome to send me an email and we figure out how we can work together.
Lovely. All right, a little bit about your personal journey, Paula. Maybe share a little bit about what brought you into the space of Web3. You seem super passionate about it. What made you go all in? What were some of your happiest moments and what troubles you about the industry? This is from Yep.
That's a great question. So the reason why I'm in the space is, like I said, I was working as a luxury fashion buyer in China, and I had pollution surgery, which inspired me to do my TEDx talk, which is Defining Undefined, educating an entire supply chain simultaneously to encourage sustainability. So technology seemed like an obvious path to choose. Education seemed an obvious path to choose. So that's why I'm in the space. And I love interacting with people. I love asking questions. I love learning. I'm on a constant learning curve. Riley.io, I think it's familiar. I'll check it out after class. So, and I feel this, you know, as a person, I feel like we can make better decisions. You can use your nut. We can be, profitable sustainability exists. You can have, you know, these collective co-creation mechanisms. We can build better products and services. We just need to understand, we need to make better decisions, and technology is going to help us make these decisions, number one. And number two, you know, when I came back to Ireland, actually coming back from China, and I remember talking in 2018, and it was really, really scary. And I remember thinking, I can't find my posse. What am I going to do? Who am I going to have questions with? And then I thought, I'll go back to university lecturing instead of finding, and I'll build my posse. I'll build and I'll educate and I'll nurture and I'll handhold my posse and start asking these questions. So that's why I love being in education, because I'm on a constant learning curve. I feel like I have a purpose. I'm building purpose populations. I'd like to have a legacy for somebody who is part of building out this Web3 and these new communities that are building healthier, more sustainable products and services. So that's my, I suppose Simon Sinek says, my why.
That's beautiful. That's perfect. Yeah, there's this famous quote that says, sometimes you've got to build what you want to be a part of. And I think that's what you're doing, right? Which is awesome. Super. Thank you, Paula. That kind of wraps up where we're at. We're going to have 10 minutes of breakout rooms. We'd love you to stay if you'd like to. You're more than welcome. But if you've got to be somewhere else, that's fine too. Thank you so much for sharing. You've got a lot of comments here that says that was a great presentation. People didn't necessarily see how fashion plays a big part in Web3, right? And I think it's a super topic to kind of bring in, just to get people to understand how it really covers everything.
Yes, and actually, to be fair, you know, I'm very lucky because, you know, who doesn't like fashion and retail? So use cases. You could use fintech examples or pharmaceuticals or nutraceuticals or whatever it is. Retail is a very live discipline, but it's also, it's quite a polluting industry. So, and it's all around us. So I really feel that, the retail and fashion is definitely going to capitalize and leverage on Web3 technology. So I'm really, really happy to be part of it.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your passion with us, Paula. We're going to jump into breakout rooms now for about 9 minutes and come back and close our session together.
I can actually hang around for 9 minutes because I'm going to my next class, Management Principles, with my first years. Yes,
that's
so I'll be here for the 10 minutes if you guys want to say hi or if you have other questions.
That's great. Well, we're going to randomly assign people.
Hi guys, I'm back. I forgot to show you guys my 3D wearable NFT collection. Don't know if you want to see it, the universal profile, but you can go to, would you like to see it? Oh, okay. I'll share screen. Anna's face is looking very smiley there. Can you see? You guys see? All right, so this is the Dematerialized, which is a fashion marketplace for 3D wearables. It's run on the Luxor blockchain. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but I buy a lot of their 3D fashion wearable NFTs. The first one I bought was in March. I paid fiat. So what we noticed with Web3 as well, guys, you can pay in cryptocurrency and fiat. In Clout.art at the moment, it's just with the Sway token and the Matic token, but in the future, you will be able to buy NFTs. It'll be seamless integration. You won't even know whether you're on Web2 or Web3 because a lot of these digital assets and goods you can pay for in fiat, which is euro or dollars or whatever. So this is the first piece I bought from Artifact. I paid 90 euros for it. And the Dematerialized actually has given me this special kind of universal profile wallet where I can visualize all my different kinds of wearable NFTs. This one is quite interesting. So you can share it, you can capture it in VR, you can avatar and showcase it. Some of these teas you can import into virtual worlds like Sonam Space. Actually, I think is quite good. So a lot of these wearable NFTs can be imported into there. But my favorite one would probably be the Karl Lagerfeld. I bought this for my Metaverse house, which I haven't bought yet, but BitCountry apparently is selling land this week. So you can actually go in and actually buy real estate in the Metaverse as well. So this is my first Karl Lagerfeld collection from the Dematerialized. I paid 77 euros for him. So I'm hoping my mom often says to me, why are you collecting all these NFTs, spending money? I want to use these NFTs as collateral to get a crypto loan to buy a land in the Metaverse. So we buying NFTs, I think, is not a waste of money. It's a digital asset, it has value, and I'm going to use it as collateral to get a loan to buy my house in the Metaverse. So NFTs, guys, are an amazing feature from Web3 technologies. And that's it.
You're a super NFT ambassador. Thanks for that, Paula. That's awesome.
Paula, can we have like a 1-minute summary of what are the key takeaways you want us to, take away with us after having attended your session?
Sure. I think you guys ask questions, put yourself out there. You wouldn't believe the amount of people that rock up on my LinkedIn, and I'll rock into a Calendly with them. We'll have a chat. So you have to educate people, really. You're an ambassador of Web3, educating people, talking to small and local businesses about how they can participate in Web3 initiatives. Stay curious, ask questions, educate yourself. Don't be afraid to jump into the Telegrams and the Discords. Our Telegram is very, very busy. I'm in it every single morning. So just do your research, guys, and Web3 applications and platforms are going to get more seamless. You're not going to see MetaMask. You won't even know that you're moving into Web3. As we evolve, the UX design is going to change. It's going to become more seamless with Web2. So we won't be having, conversations about crypto and fiat and so on in the future. It'll just be pure seamless. So ask questions, go out there, make friends, start coming up with your own businesses, because I think Web3 is a definite game changer, and it's a great one for supporting and building local communities and like-minded people.
Thanks so much, Paula. That takes us 3 minutes over the hour mark. We loved having you here. Thank you, everyone. You can connect with Paula on LinkedIn, and we look forward to seeing all students back on Thursday for the 8th session. All right.
Thanks, guys. It was great to see you all, and enjoy the course. Bye.